ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Lujack versus TJump 2. Reasons to believe in God. On January 24th, 2023, a second debate discussion was held between yours truly, George Lujack of Scripture Truth Ministries, and TJump, an atheist who hosts a debate show and can be found under the acronym TJump on YouTube.
Fixed. I don't know what happened. It was an unexpected error of some kind. All right, so you're telling me about your reasons to believe in God, and you said that you believe in a supernatural agent who created the universe.
Yes. I don't see your image. Are you up?
Yes, I see my image. I will check with the chat.
Okay.
Here's the chat. It's probably because you stayed in the room, and so it hasn't updated on your end or something.
Okay. Well, yes, I believe that a God, a supernatural God, not bound by the first or second laws of thermodynamics, created time, space, and matter, our universe, if you will. Now, either we have faith either way, and you believe that there was no beginning, actually, because time and space and matter always existed in some form. A long time ago, far, far away, all the matter in the universe was condensed into a singularity. The singularity expanded on its own and formed the universe and earth that we live in today. Thus, you believe there was no beginning, and eternal matter created the heavens and the earth. Thus, you and other atheists revere matter, or in some cases, some people say stardust, as the creator. I don't know also if you're misinformed or disingenuous about some of the things you were saying in the last debate, namely that all atheists are in agreement. You proclaimed that, you find that humorous, but you did proclaim that Richard Dawkins believes that the universe, I said he claimed that the universe came from nothing. You said that, no, he never said that.
He doesn't believe that, no.
Well, here's an audio.
Of course it's counterintuitive that you can get something from nothing. Of course, common sense doesn't allow you to get something from nothing. That's why it's interesting. It's got to be interesting in order to give rise to the universe at all. Something pretty mysterious had to give rise to the origin of the universe.
So did you hear that last sentence? Something pretty mysterious must have given rise. That's not a nothing. It's not nothing.
So he's redefining something as nothing. So he's,
Well, no. So this is the conflation. Christian apologists don't understand physics, and so in physics, there's multiple different definitions of nothing. Nothing in this context doesn't mean absolute nothing. It means none of the conventional normal material baryons and stuff. So it's no one believes something came from only one sec. Only Christians believe something came from nothing when God spoke, poofed it out of existence. Atheists don't believe that. They believe that there is some kind of physical substance, like a quantum field or something, that created the universe.
Yes, I heard that explanation before, but the mere fact is I said that he said. Now, if you want to elaborate on that afterward, he did say nothing created everything. So
no, he said something pretty mysterious must have been the origin.
Yeah, in order for nothing to create everything, that's the something mysterious. So there is something in there.
He never said that.
I give you that.
He never said nothing.
I will concede the point.
He never said nothing in any of the quote.
Something mysteriously caused nothing to create everything. So
he never said that. He never said that.
Okay, we disagree a little bit about the nuance of what he said there.
He literally never said the word nothing.
I can go back and play it again. He did say nothing.
He said something pretty mysterious.
But but he changed nothing into something pretty mysterious in order for nothing to create everything. So he's back to nothing again, you know?
No one believes nothing. That's not a thing.
Okay.
Not even Lawrence Krauss believes nothing. That was from a conversation with him and Lawrence Krauss.
Okay, we can argue about what he said all day long, and I think he said one thing.
You
said
are wrong.
The other.
That is, it's just that simple. You are wrong.
You did say, I do believe it pretty clear in this, that hyenas do not eat bones, and that nothing eats whales. Whales fall to the bottom of the ocean and they become fossilized.
Yes, that happens.
Okay. Well, go to it's very easy. Eat whale bones hyenas. And there's a link, discoverwildlife.com, which says, hyenas are famed for their bone-cracking jaws and ability to eat everything, bones and all. But bone only counts for a small part of their diet, while polychaete worms in the genus Osedax digest the fat and bone of dead whales worldwide. Now,
which absolutely does nothing. Does nothing. Irrelevant, gibberish, garbage. Like, I was correct. You were incorrect.
It's a science site.
Yeah, yes. So I was correct. They don't eat bones. That's a very small percentage of their diet. The fact that they can actually
bones at all.
No.
Please,
again,
everyone, Google that.
Oh my God! Stop! So your point was that they eat bones, which is why we won't find fossils. They don't eat the bones. The bones are still there. Bones are there all the time. They do not eat. The fact that they eat occasional bones is not the fact that they eat all the bones. They will still be there.
Bones are part of their diet. They eat other things.
It's irrelevant. Irrelevant. Your dumbass point was that they eat the bones, therefore we will not find bones. They do not eat all of the bones. They are not there. You're wrong. You are incorrect.
I'm sure you'll find a fraction of a bone here and there, but they generally eat.
They do not eat even nowhere near all of the bones. Your argument is stupid.
So do whales, and all the worms in the bottom of the sea are eaten by whales. You know, when you find a shipwreck like the Titanic.
Oh my God! So first thing is, everything you just said is incredibly stupid and moronic. Yes, there are bones on the bottom of the ocean. You can just Google images of bones. Stop being an idiot. Google images of whale bones on the bottom of the ocean.
I agree with you.
Yes, so I was right. I was right. That was the whole point.
Wait. Please stop with the name calling.
What you're saying is stupid and wasting my time. Like, my point was there are whale bones at the bottom of the ocean. Yes, that is true. I win.
They're currently being consumed by worms.
No.
The bones of the whale.
No.
Listen, okay, you when we find a shipwreck like the Titanic, right? We don't find human remains in there. Nothing. Because the worms digest all the bones completely. You don't find any skeleton of a human being in a shipwreck because the sea creatures will eat it. So they eat the bones too.
Wrong.
Okay, another point. You also talked about an elephant graveyard. Now, I watched a movie. I thought you had me here. I really did.
What?
I watched a movie.
Wait, stop with your gibberish. I don't care about your dumb gibberish. What is the point that was being made in the conversation? What point was I making? And address the point. So why did I bring up the elephant graveyard? What was the point of this?
You were saying that bones will become fossilized.
Yes.
Look at the elephant graveyards around the world.
Wait. So are you saying bones will not become fossilized?
Yes.
What is your silliness argument for that? How do you get to that conclusion?
Because you are citing a myth.
That's how do you think that bones don't become fossilized? We know this for a fact. Why do you think that doesn't occur?
Because they get eaten by the creatures that are...
No, that's a dumbass argument. You're so stupid. It's just insanely stupid. We know bones are fossilized. Okay. Literally, we have bones. They are fossilized.
You brought up elephant graveyards, correct?
What about...
There are no such places.
What?
I watched the movie The Lion King. I believed it. I thought you were telling the truth. I was like, yeah, I think he's got me here on one point. There are elephant graveyards. But guess what? I did my research. I looked. There ain't no such place. It's a myth. Go ahead, Google elephant graveyard. It'll pop right up on Wikipedia. It doesn't exist, so you're making stuff up. You would criticize me if I made up a myth.
This stupid. Like,
it's stupid.
There are places with bones. There are places with bones of elephants. I don't know what the stupid arguments you're making.
And then later on, creatures eat the bones.
No, they don't.
My argument was that there are whale bones on top of mountain ridges, and that's evidence of a great flood because I got stuck up there and there was no creatures up there to eat the bones.
No, that's stupid. No, that's stupid.
All right. I don't think it's stupid. I think you brought up a myth, the elephant graveyard. There's no such place. Google it, people.
Again, skip your dumb shit. Say, what was the point I was making? Why did I bring this up? Start with the point. What was the point I was making?
That you said that things always fossilize. And I said, no, they don't.
I did not say things always fossilize. Things do fossilize. Obviously, they don't always fossilize. That's stupid.
Cover something up before the creatures can get to it. On occasion, this happens. I acknowledge this. But you said there's whale bones at the bottom of the ocean. Of course, whales die. And they go to the bottom of the ocean, and then the bones don't instantly vaporize. They get eaten over time by sea worms.
No, they become fossils. There are fossils of whales at the bottom of the ocean, you moron.
They go into a seafloor that gets covered.
That was the only point. There are fossils from bones. They get to the bottom, they fossilize. No one was claiming they all fossilize. Elephant bones fossilize. We have fossils of elephants. They're called mammoths, you moron. What point are you bringing up? Everything you've said confirms everything I've said. Do whale bones fossilize? Yes.
Do you understand that those mammoths were fossilized standing up? They were rapidly buried and frozen.
Some of them were, which is irrelevant.
Yeah. And how did that happen in an ancient?
Tar pits. That's how it happened. This is irrelevant. Go back to your gibberish.
Frozen in ice. That's the evidence we have.
What's frozen? Tar pits.
Okay. Well, I want to say this because I have something in common with you and the other atheists, and you might find this a little surprising. My faith journey altogether didn't start that much different than yours.
I don't care. The story, that part isn't that.
Well, we're having a conversation, right? I mean, how are we going to have a conversation if every time I say something, you don't care? You don't care.
Well, the first thing you were supposed to bring up was reasons to believe in a God. That's the part
I'm getting at overall reasons to believe or not believe in a God. We're carrying on a discussion, correct?
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that your faith journey and other atheists are not altogether different than mine. I was in a church just like you. I was in a Protestant church, and I became disillusioned with the churches and church teachings. And I think you did too. Am I incorrect?
I don't care about anything in the churches. None of the churches are evidence.
I'm just going down a road here. I'm making a case. Okay. I know you don't care.
Like I was never illusioned that churches were reasonable in the first place. I never thought they were valuable.
Okay. Well, I saw in one of your other tapes that you did have some faith in God at one point in your life. And then you didn't.
That's different than a church. That has nothing to do with the church.
So I assume you got some of your knowledge from that church. So it's just an assumption on my part. If I'm totally wrong and you were just there for shits and giggles and you really had your own faith, I don't know. I'm just basing on some of your statements you made.
The churches had absolutely nothing to do with my loss or starting of faith. Churches are irrelevant.
You had some faith in God at one point in your life. We can agree on this?
That's not related
and
to
my
church.
faith was based on the churches, okay? Because I went to church and I thought that they were telling the truth. And then when I became disillusioned with that, I took a red pill, and I think you took a red pill too, and said, you know what? I don't believe this because of this, or that, right? So I had my reasons for not believing. You had your reasons for not believing.
Okay.
Maybe your reasons were different than mine. And then we went in the fork in the road, if you will. My fork said, okay, I'm going to seek God in truth. Your fork was to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, I'm not going to believe in God altogether. And I don't think you'd even disagree with that.
Sure. Like there's no evidence, so it's a good reason not to believe.
Oh, there is evidence. You just dismiss it. You don't want to believe
because it's not evidence. It's provably false.
You know, there is evidence. It's not provably false.
We'll present some of the evidence. I can prove it false, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I know you would make the claim, and this is true on your part. I would agree with this, that, you can't test the miracles that some theologians claim happen, right? Okay. I would agree with that, because God is not going to be put to the test, if you will. And you have to understand why your standard of evidence is not going to be met by God. There's a reason.
So saying that you can't find evidence of God is not evidence of God. So what is the evidence of God?
I didn't say that. I said that sometimes there is, in the atheist world, if you will, they doctor things to try to make the case that evolution existed, Or this is not deniable. They've altered bones to try to say that man evolved. Look, and then they realized it was a forgery.
Irrelevant.
Theologians do this too.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant. There is proof evolution is real. So evolution has been proven. It's a fact.
No,
There's no
it has
denying
not
it.
been proven.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the theory of evolution, not the fact of evolution.
Theory
is not proven.
You don't understand what the word theory means. A theory is a collection of facts. Facts prove the theory.
I have the theory of God and the theory of everything,
So what's the evidence that supports that? That's what I'm looking for. There's lots of evidence that proves evolution. That part's done. But what is your evidence for God?
There's lots of theories that proclaim evolution. My evidence for God is the man, Jesus Christ, who came and lived among us and rose from the grave. And he was witnessed by many people. And he was written about, and people went to their graves to testify of him.
Okay, people
He said
witness.
that you're not going to be given any more evidence than the evidence of Jonah, who was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights, and he was in the heart of the earth for 3 days, 3 nights. So you want absolute proof, and you're not going to get it.
Well, I don't care about proof. I want evidence.
Proof too. You demonstrate to me in a laboratory that you can create life from non-life, and I will.
That's not evolution. That's abiogenesis. But
okay,
so
you have to prove that point. You have to prove that that happened. You can't.
No, I don't need to prove. That's a separate thing. Evolution is one thing. Abiogenesis is a different thing.
You haven't proven either one.
No, we've proven evolution. We can literally prove that. We can observe it and prove it happens. But
you
go back to Jesus. Go back to Jesus. I want to talk about Jesus. So
I want to talk about Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So I believe Jesus existed. He was an existing human being. No evidence he rose from the dead. You said that people recorded him, seeing him after death, and they were willing to die for it. Guess what? People record Santi Sai Baba having risen from the dead, and they're willing to die for it. Is that evidence is true? No. People are stupid. People are willing to say things based on delusions, and then they have conviction in those things. Is the conviction evidence that it's true? No.
I agree with that. What you just said.
Okay.
You need some faith to believe in God.
Well, that's not evidence. Faith isn't evidence.
You certainly need faith to believe what you believe in.
No, I don't. I have zero faith.
Brought up the point, and this is a good point, that you believe in the first and second laws of thermodynamics are untouchable. They cannot be. You said you believe
untouchable.
Well, yeah, you did. I mean, I'm not trying to misconstrue your words here. You said that you believed in science, that science proves evolution because of the first and second law of thermodynamics. In essence, that matter always existed, right?
No, those have nothing to do with evolution. Those could exist without evolution.
No, I'm not talking about evolution. I'm talking about the creation of the universe at this point.
Okay. I thought you said evolution. Yeah. So I believe.
I'm not trying to restate what you said. You said that you believed in the first law of thermodynamics. Therefore, matter always existed.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Something like that. Yes.
And that's true. If that was the case, because then you'd have you believe in everlasting matter created the heavens and the earth.
Everlasting energy. Yes.
Everlasting matter plus energy.
Just energy. Just energy. Matter comes from energy. Energy started.
Okay. Term it however you want. You believe in everlasting energy created the heavens and the earth. Therefore, you revere energy as your God.
No.
You can put it however you can spin it however you want. I believe in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. God is my God. So you believe in energy as the creator.
Sort of.
Okay. I don't think I'm not trying to say anything that you didn't actually say.
But I don't worship it.
The thing is, I have faith in this. Wait, I will say I have faith in this. I believe in a supernatural God that is capable of is not bound by the laws of thermodynamics. Therefore, Yeshua proved this by, I would say, either it's the biggest magic trick of all time, or he supernaturally created fish out of nothing and bread out of nothing and put it in those baskets, or he beamed the fish from the sea into those baskets.
Or it was made up.
Or it's what?
Made up.
Or it's a made up lie. Yeah, the story could be totally made up. And it could all be lying about his risen from the dead and everything else.
Yeah, that seems to be what the most historians think. Yeah.
Of course. Who writes the history books? The people in charge of this world. Who's in charge of the world? Believers or people that are usually in rebellion against God? I would say
people who follow the evidence. So the evidence indicates that those are fictional. It's not about people. Don't matter. It's evidence that matters.
You don't know what the evidence. Historians don't have the evidence. They write the evidence as fact. Then you either believe that or don't.
Well, the evidence is that people make stuff up all the time, and there's lots of different historical books where people make up miracle claims, not just Christian miracle claims, but of all religions all over the world. And whenever we test them, they are fake and false. And so, because they are pretty much always fake and false, like miracles, magic, mythical creatures, the paranormal, supernatural, leprechauns, fairies, all of those things, they're all false. We just say that when people wrote those in, it was one of the 10,000 different delusions, illusions, hallucinations that are in the human brain that caused them to think that, and they were wrong. Like, that's what we think happens when people write those things down, not that it actually happened.
The Bible tells us to test all things. The Bible also tells us that there are a lot of false prophets that come in Yeshua's, Jesus' name, and perform lying wonders. So my ministry's objective was to shatter mainstream and Christian deceptions. I am aware of the false proclamations of miracles. I'm well aware of that. I don't believe the scriptures have that. I don't believe that they lied about Yeshua being risen from the dead, but I do believe that Catholic history has a lot of lies. I mean, Benny Hinn, do I really believe those stage actors are really getting healed? No, I don't. I'm not so naive, but I am not so naive to believe that matter always existed, a product without a producer either.
What's the
nor
evidence?
do I believe that matter can form itself into self-sustaining, self-replicating life forms that are very complicated. The simplest life form is more complicated than a space shuttle, as they say. And if the space shuttle can't assemble itself, then how could life arrange itself?
I'm glad that's what you believe, but what is the evidence that supports those beliefs? That's the part I'm interested in. So I can give evidence for each of those claims. Like, for example, what is the evidence that evolution happened? Evolution makes novel testable predictions that can confirm ERV patterns in DNA across all species. It can confirm predictions of fossils that we predicted we would find if there were transitional fossils, exactly where we would find them before we knew. It predicted the different kinds of spectrums of speciation during certain areas and time periods that are only found in certain geological spectrums, and exactly which geological spectrums they'll be found in. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of evolutionary predictions that are correct. That's evidence of evolution. What is your evidence for the things that you said?
There are also dozens and dozens of evidences of evolution. They used to think that we came from a coelacanth fish, that the coelacanth fish was expired 50 million years ago, and then they found a coelacanth fish. Oh, well, I guess we're going to have to rewrite the storyline.
What is your evidence for God? That's the part I like. So I gave evidence for evolution. What is your evidence for?
Last time that I believe that a supernatural God arranged molecules and formed the animals from.
I know what you believe. So, like, there's a difference between your belief and the things that justify the belief. So I believe evolution is true, but me just telling you
can't justify evolution as being true, or especially
I don't
abiogenesis.
Wait. So to justify a belief, you have to give evidence. You don't just restate the belief. I can't just say I believe evolution.
Give you evidence.
Okay, what did it go?
One of my gifts, if you will, is the ability to understand and decipher mystical prophetic language. So therefore, unfortunately, can be tested.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to give you a test. I want you to mark it down in your computer, on your calendar. George Lujack of Scripture Truth Ministries proclaims that in the year 2033 through 2034, specifically April 14, 2033 through September of 2034, scripture prophecy will be fulfilled. How's that for evidence?
Which one? Which one? Give me the prophecy. Which one?
I'm going to. Keep your pants on.
All right. This is good. I like this. I'm excited. Let's go.
I want you to mark it on your calendar. I'm going to repeat. Between 2033 and 2034, during those years. And I'm going to pay a price for this if I'm wrong. Okay. So I'm not just going to make this proclamation and walk away. And I'm not asking anyone to send me their life savings. Okay. George Lujack of Scripture Truth Ministries believes a prophecy of 2,700 years ago will be fulfilled. Now, if that occurs, will you be satisfied?
The prophecy. Tell me the prophecy.
Okay. Isaiah 17, verse 1. Damascus will fall. Damascus is currently a city of 2 million residents. In those years, 2033 through 2034, Damascus will fall and become a ruinous heap and unpopulated. Nobody will live there anymore. Now, if this prophecy is not fulfilled between the years 2034 and January 1st of 2036, I, George Lujack, will make a public apology on YouTube, and not only make a public apology, I will have my ministry partner or someone else throw a pie in my face, right in the kisser. Okay, how's that for evidence?
That's a great prophecy. I like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, mark it
But
in your
can we make
calendar.
can we make it better than a pie? Can you say like you'll send me $10,000 if you're wrong? I would like that a lot more.
I will do that, but you know what? I won't do that. I will make you a
What?
bet for $10,000 because I got to
A
win
bet?
something out of this too, and I intend to make
Wait,
bets. I
that's
intend to
not how
go around
prophecy
town.
works.
Even money bet on a prophecy 2,700 years. You don't think that's a bargain? If you don't think that's, I'm not going to give you something. I'm going to give you a pie in the face and apologize. However, I will wager you even money that it happens at that time. That's the best.
Well, no, because there's a % chance that it happens randomly, so I don't want to bet anything on it. But if you're confident in it, you should be able to wait. If you're confident in it, you should be able to put the money down without me having to bet anything.
Look at your double talk. You
What?
say that
How is
we
that
make
double talk?
predictable predictions, but I'm
Yes.
saying, but when it comes to me, I randomly pick something from 2,700
Yes.
years ago prophecy within a 2-year window, and
Yeah.
that's just a random guess, and I'm lucky.
Wait. So
I'll
my
take
position.
Vegas odds on that any time that they would never give it to me. So I'm giving you a prophecy of 2,700 years ago that's going to within the 2-year window, and you're saying it's a lucky guess. But you
No.
predictable
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
where you're going to find some bones, and that's evidence.
No, that's not what I said. So I said I wouldn't bet on it because there is a % chance of any random guess getting true. But if you're really confident that it's
$10,000, we have $5 just for the shits and giggles. $5.
Sure. You
Right?
give me 10,000, I'll give you 5. That works great.
No, I'm not a fool. I'll bet you $5 versus $5.
You
fool would bet 10,000.
You think this
versus
is
5.
going to happen? If this is a
The Eagles are
prediction,
going to win a Super Bowl too. That doesn't mean I'm going to bet $5 versus 10,000. I mean, that's ridiculous.
if this is your prophecy of God, you should be able to put your money where your mouth is. Come on, what is this?
It's not
What is
dated
this?
when it's going to happen in prophecy. I'm predicting this.
Right.
I'm an analyst of prophecy. I am not saying that the prophecy says in 2033, 2034 in a Gregorian calendar is going to happen. I'm saying that.
Okay.
So therefore, there's some risk on my part. I mean,
All
if
right.
that's not good enough, you go find another place to place a bet. I mean, I'm talking $5 here. I think you can afford $5. I think you're a man of means.
Sure, I can afford $5.
Okay. Well, I also think the Eagles are going to win a Super Bowl, but I would never bet $5 versus 10,000 on it. I might bet 100 versus 250 to win because they're not at this point of that's fair odds. But certainly I would never bet 10,000 to win $5. I might be wrong. The Eagles could lose. It's a football game. I might also be wrong about Damascus. And if I am wrong, I'm willing to take a pie in my face. I'm willing to make even money bets on this. That's it. That's the best I got to offer you.
All right. So, do you have anything that we can confirm now for evidence? Because we'll wait about 10 years or so, 12 years.
Yeah, we got to wait a little bit. Sorry about that. I wish it was 2023 to 24, but sorry about that. I didn't write the scriptures. I'm only trying to interpret them. Evidence of God. Okay.
So do you have any other evidence that we have ability to confirm right now?
You have to have some faith. You refute the evidence.
I don't need any faith. My worldview takes zero faith.
No, I'm sorry. To believe that matter always existed, you believe in a product without a producer. That takes faith.
Well, no,
Show
that's
me
just
where
induction.
anything's ever been produced without being a producer.
Everything has been there without a producer. So clouds, planets, suns, space, fields, gravity. But all of that's not faith, that's evidence. So if I see things like reality being reality, I can use that to infer it's been reality.
You have a standard for for theists that if I have something like a miracle, you want me to bring it to a laboratory and test it and prove it. I have something for you to test and prove, abiogenesis. But you say, no, we don't have to do that because that's not faith, that's science. No,
of course we have to test abiogenesis. That's a part of science. We're literally doing it. We are doing that. We are.
Say that again?
We are testing it. There's an entire section of thousands of papers that is specifically testing this. You can Google the new scientist search
to produce
none of them. No, they've all succeeded.
Listen,
so
chemical reactions in a laboratory are not self-replicating, self-reproducing life forms.
You don't need to make wait. You don't need to make literally all of the 10,000 of steps to make life at one time. If you can prove one step at a time, that's evidence. So what they've done is they've started with one step, like how do you make an amino blockchain that can self-reproduce under 52 base pairs, and they've done it. So
That's like saying the Eagles killed the Giants this week, so therefore they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's not evidence. That's predictions.
Wait. So if there's 10,000 steps to life.
You might count a lot of people with this kind of talk, but you're not counting me with it.
So walk me through how this is a con. So there's 10,000 steps how you go from non-life to life. Abiogenesis can explain about 1,000 of them. Intelligent design explains 0 of them.
10,000 steps, all of them, and produce.
No. So I don't need to demonstrate 10,000. If I can do 1,000 and you can do 0, I have evidence you do not, right? Which part of that?
Partial evidence is not full evidence.
Evidence is always partial. 100% evidence is called proof. Evidence is always partial. So if I have 1,000 steps,
to me, abiogenesis exists.
If I have 1,000 steps, which is not all 10,000, it's just 1,000 of them, that's evidence from my side. And if you have 0 steps and I have 1,000 steps, I have more evidence than you, right?
I have scriptures. I have testimony. You discount these things as steps. You just want, I don't know what kind of standard you want, but I want the same kind of standard that you're demanding.
Yeah. So which steps of abiogenesis are explained in the scriptures? Is it the amino peptide bonds? Is it the
God
protein
created
levels?
Man from the dust of the earth, supernaturally. That's the
step. Which step is that one? I kind of missed that one in abiogenesis.
God is a supernatural God, not bound by our laws. His ways and his scientific methods are way higher than us. If I shown a flashlight to a caveman, he'd be like, "Oh," because he doesn't understand how the technology works. That doesn't mean that I'm a god or anything else. It just means that I'm way more advanced than this person is. God is way more advanced than we are.
Okay, well, can we get one of the steps, please? Because you said there's evidence that the scriptures explain the steps. I don't. Where are the steps?
Break down man, and man returns to dust. So therefore, it's not inaccurate to say we came from the dust of the earth. So that's
which step. Which step? Like, is that the amino peptide bond step?
And revealing, do we come from dust? Yes, we do come from dust. So that's a step.
Like, I can say the words "we come from dust." That isn't actually a step in evolution. Because guess what?
What step of abiogenesis have you? Boiling water and making it steam is not abiogenesis. That's a chemical reaction.
We've created a cellular wall structure, found out how that formed by RNA forming on clay.
With a cellular wall structure or cells? Yeah, you did. So that's kind of cheating. That doesn't work.
No.
Those inorganic matter.
No. So we start with inorganic matter, which is clay and RNA, inorganic matter. And when RNA interacts with clay, it can form a corpuscle, a big ring, the cell wall.
Wait. You just stated that you started with RNA and clay. Yeah, RNA is some kind of non-organic material. Okay, you cheated.
Yes, it is. RNA is a non-organic material.
Non-organic RNA. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, I looked up your elephant graveyard. Doesn't exist. It's a myth. I believed it too. I watched The Lion King. I just thought that they had elephant graveyards.
Yes, there are graveyards of multiple elephant.
No, they die, and then the hyenas come and chew the bones and eat them all.
No, they don't. They do not. Hyenas do not eat all bones. You're confusing. Hyenas occasionally eat a few bones with. They will eat all bones in Africa. That is wrong. That is stupid.
Hyenas this is right on DiscoveryWildlife.com. Hyenas are famed for their bone cracking jaws. An ability to eat everything.
Hyenas eat all bones.
Bones and all.
No. Do hyenas eat all bones?
Generally speaking, you don't get fossils.
Okay. I don't think you understand how words work.
Most of the time, things don't form fossils.
That's true. Most of the time, things don't form fossils. That's different than hyenas eat all bones. So hyenas do not eat anywhere near.
What Google to refute you? I mean,
hyenas do.
Sometimes I think
how do you not understand? So hyenas can eat bones. Yes. Do they eat all of the bones in Africa of everything that dies? No. No one thinks that. That is dumb. No, hyenas do not eat all bones of all dead things in all of Africa. And guess what? There are bones of things that die that are not in Africa. Do the hyenas go to Australia and eat the chupacabra bones? No, they do not.
You're right. I'm sure something else does, though.
No.
I've dealt with your types in the past. I mean, I was a police officer, and you have some traits of like a pathological liar. I don't want to assault you, but
how is that? How is all bones are not eaten?
I'm showing you facts here that hyenas eat all bones, and then you're saying don't believe what you read.
Where?
Believe me.
Where? Where does it
I
say
just showed
hyenas
you the
eat?
website. I'm reading it to you. You want me to read it again one more
Yes,
time?
please. Yes,
Hyenas are
yes,
famed for their bone-cracking jaws and ability to eat everything, bones
yes.
and all.
Do you think that
Does that
means?
mean they eat every single bone in Africa? Probably not. But
Yes, good job. Yes,
okay, you know what?
congratulations. Yes.
But I'm sure something else does.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God. Oh my
hyenas don't eat whale bones, but worms at the bottom of the seafloor do.
Oh my
They eat
God.
all the whale bones. They eat it until
Ah,
nothing's left.
my brain is burning right now.
I'm
Like,
sure it's
no,
burning with
no,
information right now that I'm giving you, and
no.
it's going against your mindset.
Which animals eat the bones in the tar pits?
If it gets covered in tar, it becomes a fossil. I understand that. But
So
how often
animals don't eat all bones, do they?
does a whale fall into a tar pit? I
Okay,
don't think it's a common occurrence.
you're right. You're right. It's not a common occurrence. But here's one example where bones are like hidden away from the animal so they can't eat them, right? And they
Okay,
don't get
you
eaten.
just said it wasn't a common occurrence, but whales are found above on all the mountain ridges of all the world. How is that
Yes.
possible if it
Plate
wasn't a common
tectonics.
occurrence? They're not found in tar pits. They're just found on mountains because there was nothing
Right.
to decompose them up there.
It's because of sediment. Sediment is a thing. I gave tar pits as a single example to try and help you understand that not all
There
bones
was
are
no
eaten.
sediment covering these bones on the mountains. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why it
Oh,
looks
oh
like
my
a
God.
graveyard
Oh my
caused by a
God.
flood.
So the bones were found inside of the rock. The rock was covering the bones. That sediment is the stuff that becomes rock. So
On the
if you
mountain
have
ridges, a lot of these animals are not found in tar. They're just plainly open and plainly
sediment,
able to see.
sediment is the stuff that becomes a rock. So you don't find fossils inside of tar. Bones, like animals, will fall into tar, and the tar will then harden. The water content inside will
This
evaporate and will
type of
become solid.
fossilization is not common. It would not account for all the fossils on planet Earth. That's for sure.
You're right. Tar is only a single kind of substance that can isolate bones from air. It's
All right,
one
we
thing.
agree. So why are you bringing it up?
Sediment is a different thing. Sediment is not tar. Sediment is a
Sediment
different thing.
sediment does not normally occur because by the time an animal decompose and be ravaged before sediment can form on top of it.
No, sediment forms all the time. And you're right, it doesn't
It
happen
doesn't happen with
most of the
just whales,
time.
as you said, because
It
worms come down
does.
and eat the
It
whale bones.
does.
So before they
No.
can sink under the sediment,
No.
they're devoured by worms.
Which
I'm not making
worms
this
can
up. I mean,
live
this is
at the
science.
bottom of the
This is not
ocean?
something. This is not
No.
something I'm making up.
We have literal pictures from the bottom of the ocean. There are no worms there because they can't live at that depth.
Okay, I'd love to convince you and your atheist friends. I'm sure about this. Now, I want you to mark it on your calendar. 2033, 2034. George Lujack of Scripture Truth Ministries predicts
You already said that. We
mass
got that one.
fall. I
We
know.
got
I
that
just want
one.
to make
That's
sure
a
you
good,
mark it
it's
on
a
your
good
calendar.
prediction. It's a good prediction. But so do you
You
have
have
any
a,
evidence?
you have a computer, right? You can put it in 10 years from now and just a little
Yeah,
star
like
there,
Google
right?
Calendar. Put up my Google Calendar, a little
All
star
right.
for.
And
Yeah.
I will be here to take a pie in my face
Okay.
if I am wrong. And I'll even appear on your
Okay.
show if you want. George, it's time to take that pie in the face, and I'll do it. But if I'm
Okay.
right, then what happens?
That'll be evidence. I'll count that as a successful prediction.
Okay.
And we'll
And
wait
will
for a
that
few other ones.
Probably not, but it would make you think a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be evidence. So, like I said, novel
Right.
predictions
But
are
it might be a
evidence.
lucky guess.
Right. So, like Hindus made an
Okay.
accurate guess of the age of the Earth. I think it's
This
a
is a
lucky guess.
2,700-year-old prophecy, and I'm getting it within a 2-year window, and that's a pretty good guess. That would be like saying I'm going to win. I know who's going to win the Super Bowl in 5 years from now. That would be a
So
pretty good guess.
Hindus guessed the age of the Earth. That's 1 in 13.8 billion. Its age of the Earth is 4.5 billion
We
years
don't
ago.
know
They
that.
guessed that.
We don't know that
We
for
do know
sure.
that.
That has not been
It's a
verified.
different topic. So
I'm just
we know
saying,
that
they can guess a lot
Hindus.
of things, but I can guess something that can be verified. You can't verify the age of the Earth.
We can
I'm not saying
verify
it's 6,000 years old, by the way. I believe that life was created here 6,000 years ago, but I believe with you. I believe the Earth is probably about 14.5 or whatever billion years old. I'm not really sure.
13.8 is the universe. The universe is 13.8.
Okay, 13.8.
The world, the Earth, this
Uh-huh.
one planet is 4.5 billion. We can confirm this.
You cannot confirm this.
We can confirm this. There are many different ways to confirm this.
I'm not going to argue with you because I believe those dates are probably close. But there's no way you can get it to the exact day how old the Earth was created. I mean, how
doesn't
can you
need to be the exact day.
How can you
I
confirm
don't
it?
care.
I'm confirming something. I'm confirming a 2-year window when Damascus can be destroyed. You're saying that the Earth is exactly 13.8, not 13.9, not 13.7 billion years old. How do you confirm that?
By using the rate of light decay by the cosmic microwave background radiation. We can see how much it decays. And you don't know
those measurements are accurate.
We do know those measurements. Yes, we do. We know those measurements are accurate. You can check it yourself.
And you don't know that the speed of that light was always constant. There could have been other factors, a lot of things. You know that. I've heard these arguments before.
Yeah. So you want to make up a new speed of light that has no evidence and say this is a way to
I'm just saying that the universe was all in a singularity, and light changes when it goes through air and through water and other materials. So you don't know that.
The Big Bang is after the singularity. It is the singularity moving away from the singularity, and so the time of light after the singularity isn't the singularity anymore.
We've had this discussion, but I think we should talk about the evidence for God and no God, I guess.
Sure. What is the evidence for God and no God?
Okay. Well, like I said, you're stuck on abiogenesis. You think you have.
I want you to give me evidence. What is your evidence? I'm not even I've brought up my evidence. What is your evidence?
Yeshua Messiah, Jesus Christ is my evidence.
Okay. He was a regular human being who had no magical powers who lived 2,000 years ago. What is the.
That's not what people said about him. I mean, they hated him for a reason. They wanted to put him on a cross because he was doing things that the ruling elite, the religious ruling elite, didn't like. They were crazy people with crazy beliefs. How does this prove that he can do magic? Yeah, but I can go out and shout to the rooftops. They're not going to put me on a cross or kill me or anything. Now, if
they would have back then.
If they would today. I mean, if I was look at Donald Trump, they pretty much politically assassinated the guy because he was not establishment. And, when you're not establishment, they'll lie about you to do. I mean, they might have to put him on a cross, but I don't think some of these people in our political circles I believe they are killing some people. I'd be naive to not think so.
So that means that even today, if you were standing on a pedestal saying things, people would kill you, which means back then, if a guy was standing on a pedestal saying things, they would kill him. Even if he wasn't magic, you're not magic. So you're just proving the point that someone can stand on a pedestal, say things against the establishment and get killed, and they don't need to be magic to do so. Romans crucified thousands of people.
That is not exactly accurate because I think he was doing magic, and that's why they did kill him. They kept asking.
So why did they crucify the 1,000 other people every year?
Because they were not a threat to their established religious order. Yeshua, the Messiah, was. Not only was he a threat, people believed him and followed him, and they knew. And then when he was arrested, everyone ran away. Now, why was that?
How many people did Romans crucify every year?
It wasn't for proclaiming to be the Son of God. They got arrested for crimes and they crucified him to keep the order.
They crucified a lot of people, and none of them were magic, right? You only believe one of them was magic.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that the Romans crucified him doesn't mean he was magical.
They crucified him for being king of the Jews. That was his charge, if you will. I mean, they said even Pilate washed his hands, and I said, "This is blood. His blood is not upon me, because I find no charge to keep him." But he gave the Jews a choice to choose between him and Barabbas, and they chose Barabbas. Now, this is what happens. Also, people come. If you're a leader or something, and you challenge the establishment, you might have a lot of people that follow you, but then all of a sudden you get arrested, and hey, I thought this guy was all powerful, and look. The Romans got more power than he does. They lost faith in him. Well, everybody ran away from him. Even the apostles. They hid, and they were afraid because even Peter denied him 3 times, according to the scriptures. And they did this because they lost faith in the power of this, what you would call a magician. If he had magic, then why isn't he striking down the Romans? Because that's not why he came. He came to die for the sins of mankind. And that was his mission. He didn't come to establish his kingdom on earth when he came. Now, maybe if you were God, you'd do things differently than our God.
That's true. I would.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why you don't believe in our God, because you don't believe in suffering. You think everything should be Santa Claus.
Yes, I would transform literally everything into a mini Santa Claus. Dogs, Santa Claus,
Yeah,
cats, Santa
and
Claus.
the problem is we've done that. You know
We
that
have
human beings have done that?
transformed things into Santa Claus. What?
No, I don't mean that. But here's what I mean. I mean, metaphorically, we have been Santa Claus. Go to any ghetto in America, and they get free housing, free welfare. How happy are they? They're not happy because they have no self-value. They didn't earn their money. So if you think God, any father that is rich gets to play God with his own child and gives the child everything he wants, are you think you're going to have a hardworking, good son, or you can have a spoiled brat? You don't know what you're talking about. If God gave us everything we'd have, we would not establish character. We would have no work ethic. We'd be lazy bums, and we'd just be like, God, just give me this, just give me that. I'm selfish. You know, you can go to any rich neighborhood in this country, and you have wives that are taken care of like that by their rich husbands. You know, you're not going to have the best wife if you have that. You're not going to have the best everything they want. And you want this. You want a God that gives you everything like Santa Claus.
Well, I mean, obviously, if I had all the food I need, I wouldn't work for food anymore because I had food. And so if you are given things that you need, so you don't have to work for it, then you don't have to work for it. And so people won't work for things if they're given the things they need. So yes, you should give them the things they need so they don't have to work for it. Your God is essentially like the evil capitalist who sells people air because, well, if we make them work for it, if we don't make them work for it, they're going to be lazy and get like take for granted the fact that they can breathe without having to work for it. Like the dumb
You're
argument, completely irrelevant for anything we're talking about. But
you're wrong about something. We don't have to pay for air.
Oh my God,
air's free.
Do we have to pay for food?
Yes, but you know, is that our fault or is it God's fault?
God's fault.
You're blaming the wrong person. Mankind was given a choice in the beginning to have the easy road. God said, if you take this fruit from the garden, you will die, and you will have to work for everything in a very hard way. That's what he promised Adam, and Adam disobeyed.
So why
God,
couldn't God have just not been a dick? Like, just, hey, God, shove it up your ass. Let us eat the apple and not have a problem. And then God could have been like, oh, okay, I can not be a dick. That works.
That's when you're God, you get to do that. When you have if you're a family, if you're a father and you become a father and you have a son, you could do that with your own son. You could say, I'm going to give you everything you want, son, and see how that works out. See if your son builds a strong character. See if your son, if he ever has a problem in life, he won't know how to solve it. He's going to have to come running to daddy.
Do you know what you can't do to your kids? You can't drown them because that's illegal. That's infanticide. You know what God did? He drowned them. Millions of them.
Were they innocent people or were they evil people?
Doesn't matter. You're not allowed to drown your kids, whether they're innocent or not.
He is allowed to do that.
No, he's a mass murdering psychopath. He's not allowed to do that. He's just evil.
He's allowed to judge his creation. He's sovereign over it. Just like you, if you are owner of a dog and your dog kept biting you or did something evil, you can put that dog down.
That would be animal abuse. So if you kill the animal, that's
animal
abuse.
If you think everything gets to live without any regulations or rules, whatever, then you're going to have anarchy, and that's what you're seeing in America today. Maybe you could take, if you had a baby or a child, maybe you'll let them be raised by transgender happy hour, you know, in your schools. I personally wouldn't let that happen because I don't think all things are relative and all things are good, you know.
How does this tie back into evidence for God? Because none of what you've said is given evidence for God.
We're talking about morality now, and morality is evidence for God that judges his creation.
Your God is an evil psychopath who mass murders people.
You believe that God actually killed people, and that's why you don't like him. It's not like you don't believe in God; you just don't like him.
No, I don't believe in him. I think he's a fictional character.
But you do believe he killed everyone in the flood?
No, I don't think there was a flood. The flood is a fiction.
Therefore, you have no reason to hate God because you didn't do that.
Do you know what the word internal critique means?
Internal critique, yes.
Yeah. Well, what does that mean?
Look in the mirror and say, how can I be better? Something like that?
No, it's like you adopt a worldview for the sake of the argument to show the contradictions in the worldview. So even though I don't believe Christianity is true, I can still say, if the Bible was true, God mass murdered and mass drowned babies, therefore God would be immoral. I don't believe the Bible is true, but I can do an internal critique where I adopt the Christian worldview, read the Bible, and then say, well, here are the problems internally with this worldview. So I don't need to believe God existed.
You know, we have some common ground here. I don't believe in Christianity either. I believe in the Bible, but not in Christianity because they often twist the Bible in all kinds of ways I can't even tell you. My ministry is not Christian, it's Messianic. and that means basically Hebrew roots, the Bible, and not the law is done away with Christianity, mainstream Christianity. I'm against mainstream Christianity. But
Okay.
as for your argument that you believe that God is an evil God, if he killed everyone in the flood, here's a problem with that. It is not love to enable people to remain in evil. If you think that's love, your heart bleeds for the wicked, and that's why you're wrong. Because if I was a police officer and there was someone about to kill someone, and I took out my gun to stop that person from killing someone, you'd say I'm evil for saving a life because I had to take another life.
No. I would say you'd be evil if you gave the other guy the gun and gave him ammunition and told him where to find the other guy and then shot him. Then you would be evil.
So you don't believe in any judgment whatsoever. You believe if people wantonly sin and commit crimes, that there should be no punishment. And that's really a problem, because then you have lawlessness and you have Sodom and you have a lawless society is what you're going to get.
No, you can still have laws.
No? What do you do to them then?
You don't allow them to commit the crime.
Then you want to take away someone's free will, and you'd have a problem with that.
No, you can, like, does Stephen Hawking have free will? The quadriplegic, he couldn't move his arm or his legs. Does he have free will?
Yes.
Can he poke you in the face with a stabby knife?
He doesn't have mobility, but he has free will.
Right. So exactly. Correct.
So you would take away everyone's mobility?
That is an example, like the tar pit. It's a single example where there's a lot of other ways you could do it that aren't as bad, but that's just a single example of a guy who has free will but cannot stabby you.
So you think that God should put everyone, if God wanted to judge his creation, he should have put everyone in wheelchairs like Stephen Hawking? That's your answer?
No, again, that's an example. A quadriplegic is an example of a person who has free will but can't kill you. So are there other ways to do that? Yes, you could add a law of physics that is impossible to force someone to do something they don't consent to doing. That's it. That's all you need. Just add that as a law of physics. Problem solved.
I don't understand what your problem. Laws of physics. Okay, let's say that you're living in a criminal society and people are stabbing each other. What do you do to the guy that just stabbed this person and robbed them? What do you do? What's your answer?
Nothing. You just add a law of physics so they can't stab anyone anymore.
So what? Remove his arms?
No, add a law of physics. Physics is like gravity.
What law of physics would you propose that someone can't stab anyone?
The can't force people to do things they don't consent to doing, law of physics.
Would you turn everyone into fish? Therefore, we can't stab anyone.
No,
I don't know what you mean by that. Give me a real world example of what you would do.
Real world. I would add an extra law of physics. So, like, an extra law of physics means an extra thing in physics that causes or prevents certain actions. So, if I could add an extra law of physics that people can't eat pineapples. I would add an extra law of physics. Extra law of physics. You would turn us into
pineapples? No,
I wouldn't change. Oh my god. So, a law of physics could be anything.
Hypothetical scenario: a man stabs someone, robs a woman, and leaves her for dead. She lives. Okay, let's say he doesn't get the death penalty. What would you do to this man if you had him?
I would nothing. I would do nothing to him. I would go back in time. I would change the laws of physics so he couldn't stab her. Problem solved.
So you time travel and take away people's right to do evil.
No, I didn't say that. I said I added a law of physics.
Evil from occurring in the first place. So if Adam took from the fruit and it caused the fall of mankind,
I'd let him. I'd let him have the fruit. I just give him the fruit. That's the solution there. Like, there's no problem with that.
Nothing. When you get to be God, you can do this and tell me how it works out. Okay. When you get to be a father in your house, and children disobey you, let me know how your rules work out. What are you going to do then?
Well, if I was God, I would just make the laws of physics so people could not get hurt.
You are the God of your house when you're the father. You're the leader of the household.
Can I change the laws of physics?
With limitations.
Can I change the laws of physics? So if I have limitations, I'm not a God.
Okay, I'm gonna add that. Within the laws of physics, you as a father, when you have a son who disobeys you, within the laws of physics, what would you do?
Within the laws of physics, I would make limitations based on the laws of physics.
True. What would you do?
Make limitations based off the laws of physics. But guess what? God isn't limited. So, like, imagine if I made a spike pit.
I'm talking about you. What would
yes.
you do
So I
if
don't
you
think.
had a child
Remember,
that's
we're talking about God. God isn't limited by the laws of physics. God is evil because he didn't change the laws of physics. So imagine if I'm in a home and have something I control over. It's like electrical outlets. I can remove all of the safety things from the electrical outlets. And then if my kid stabs a fork into the electrical outlet, whose fault is that?
I want to relieve you of this problem that you have with God.
Whoa,
God is going. Yeah.
whoa. If I remove the electrical outlets, it's my house. I remove the electrical outlets, and the kid stabs it with a fork. Whose fault is that?
How could he stab it with a fork if you removed it?
No. So like the electrical outlets, they have a little panel that protects them, so you can't stab anything into them. They have a protector in front of them.
Right.
If I removed that, so I took off the little sheet, and all of the metal was exposed, and all the wires were exposed, and a kid stabbed a fork into it, whose fault is that?
I'm assuming that you taught him about electricity, and if you
Yeah,
did,
I said electricity is bad. Don't stick a fork into this one spot that could kill you.
It's his
That's
fault.
stupid. That's stupid. So if
Really?
I
Because,
remove,
I've seen that's stupid.
yes,
You
what
informed him about this.
a responsible adult would put the covers on to make sure they can't stab the electricity thing. That's all you need to do.
Do you
That's
really
it.
believe that those child couldn't take those covers off and then stab it? I mean, you're really putting a lot of faith in those covers.
Yes, they're lockable. You can lock them so they can't take them off. This is not hard.
So why would a child that is of age and understands what you're saying, you think if he disobeys you, you're still wrong for taking those covers off? Man, you must walk around in a house that's got locks on everything. You must not have stoves that could turn on by themselves. And because if someone turned it on and they burned their hand, you'd be at fault, right? I mean, this is crazy. How do you live like that?
Yeah, yes. So if I do something that's unsafe or leave like a gun without a lock on
I'm going to tell you.
Wait. So if I have a gun and I leave it without the lock on and my kid shoots himself, do you know who's legally liable for that?
Well, if you left it out there recklessly, I would agree with that.
Yes. If you do reckless things and you leave them out in the open for people to use, you are at fault, right?
If I was a police officer, I came home and my child knew, and he was even 10 feet from my gun, I'd say, get away from there. And he'd know.
Right. So wait. So if you have your gun out with no holster, with no guard or lock on it, on the table.
I'm going to relieve you of this monster God that you're worried about.
Wait, no. I want to go through this one, just one more. So let's say you go home, you put your gun on the table, you say, "Kid, don't touch the gun." You walk away. Whose fault is it if the kid picks up the gun and shoots himself? Who is legally liable?
You're not putting any responsibility on the individual. It's ultimately the kid's fault if he was told not to do it.
No, it's your fault. You are the one who gets charged. You are the one who gets put in prison. You are the one who is liable.
And we're going to go right back to the garden with this. You think it was God's fault for putting that tree in the midst of the garden and telling Adam not to eat it because he should have never put that tree in the garden in the first place.
We just add a fence. Problem solved. I mean, or just let him eat it and not punish him. That's a problem. There's literally no problem.
He wanted to be a cosmic dictator and have everyone obey him, and they couldn't even but if he wanted to give people free will,
adding a fence does not limit free will. Adding a fence does not a cosmic dictator. It's a fence.
Climbed over the fence. He could have broke the fence. I mean,
he could have climbed over God's fence. How weak is God?
You misunderstand the point of the fruit in the garden. It wasn't there as a electrical outlet for Adam to be in danger of, so that he could actually.
That's exactly what it was. That's literally what it was.
No, wait. I'll give you a better scenario. It wasn't a third rail that God didn't warn him about. God did warn him about it. He said it was there to test Adam. It was there to see if he'd be obedient to God or not. And it wasn't there as a danger thing for Adam. It was an irresponsible thing left there by God.
That's exactly what it was.
No, it wasn't. It was a test for Adam. He was warned not to eat of it, and he disobeyed God. It was a test of his love and loyalty.
So if I tested my children to be loyal to me, let's say I tested my children to be loyal to me, and if they disobey, then I'm going to drown them and starve them to death and have them be raped and murdered. Is that an appropriate thing for a parent to do?
Man, these concepts of yours, I don't know, it's wild. I mean, I can relieve you of some of this because there's not going to be a burning torture chamber of hell. If you refuse to believe in God, he will put the lights out on you, and
who created that?
To exist.
Who created the burning torture of hell?
Death. You don't get to be God. God did not create you to be God of your own universe. He created you to be his child.
Whose fault is it that hell exists?
Hell doesn't exist. Hell is the second death. There's only one parable about hell in all the scriptures, but for us human beings,
gnashing of teeth, the gnashing of teeth place, the fiery pit place. Who
the
created
gnashing
that?
of teeth before you get thrown and die. You're going to be gnashing.
Who created that?
I mean, there are consequences for actions.
Who created this? Is not a hard question.
You don't want consequences. You want to live a life without consequences.
No,
and that's not the way the world works. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
What I said was who created the fiery pit place or the gnashing of teeth place? Who created that?
God.
God did. So as a parent, if I create a pit of fiery gnashy teeth for people to die and my kids fall into it, who's at fault?
You're not going to fall into hell. You're going to choose hell. You're not tripping into hell.
That's literally not the point. So the point isn't whether or not you fall into it. The point is if you created a pit of torture and death that other human beings can fall into without their consent, you are at fault. You are the bad guy.
No,
it's not God's fault.
There because they refuse to obey God. And
right. So that makes it worse. So it's not that they accidentally fall. It's that you throw them in there.
The purpose of creation. The purpose of God creating us was to have sons and daughters that would love him in his kingdom, and his authority was challenged by Satan. So you don't understand the purpose of suffering on this earth. The purpose of suffering on this earth for 6,000 years is for humans to understand that God's laws are true and good for us. If we disobey them, we're going to have suffering and death and ultimately hell if we refuse to obey God, who loves us and gives us good laws. So you want the freedom to be your own God. And God didn't create you for that. I mean, I wish he could send you.
No. I would like to not be a slave without my consent. And you want me to be a slave.
Satan didn't want to be. He said, I'd rather rule. He said he would, this is Dante's Inferno, I believe, a book. I think it's fiction, but I would rather rule in hell and serve in heaven. That line.
Dante's comedies. Yes. What about them?
The line, one of the lines from Satan is, I would rather rule in hell than serve in heaven.
Okay.
Well, I would rather serve in heaven than perish in hell. For me,
that's nice.
I mean,
that's totally your choice. You have the freedom to choose that.
I mean, you think God is someone that wants your bad for you,
right? So if God doesn't give me the choice to live the way I want to and forces me to live the way He does under the threat of violence, wait. So if God forces me to live the way He wants me to live under the threat of punishment, that's called slavery. That's evil. That's immoral. That's bad. So yes, I want to be free and not a slave. That would be preferable. Yeah. Not slavery is good.
The Bible addresses this. We are all under bondage. You can either be under bondage to God or bondage to sin. You want to be under bondage to sin.
No. So the option is forget God. No. The options are God gets out of the way and stops being a dick. That's the option. That's the moral option. Right now, all of the options in the Bible are God's a dick. He forces you to do things you don't want.
How is he a dick?
Or he punishes you.
Okay, how is he a dick?
Because he forces you to do things that you don't have any choice in, or he punishes you.
What don't you want to do that he commanded you to do? If the dick tells you to do something that's going to be harmful.
I don't want to die. I don't want to have old age. I don't want to get fat. I don't want to have to work for a living. I don't want to get diseases. I don't want to have to sleep. I don't want to have to eat food that I don't like. I don't want to have to exercise. I don't want to have cancer. I don't want to have to die of worm disease. I don't want to be murdered. I don't want to be stabbed. I don't want to have to murder anybody. That one's a good one. All of those things are things God commanded and directly did to other people without their consent.
Okay, well, on the list that you said, I don't want to murder anyone, but I'm willing to if someone tried to kill me or someone I loved.
What if God commanded you to do it?
I would not do it. I would cite God's own commandment, thou shalt not kill.
Well, God's commanded tons of people to kill.
I mean, in certain cases, if I was in war.
Yeah. So let's say God commands you to kill your son.
Kill and murder? No, I'm not going to do that.
Yep. So God says you must kill your son. And if you don't, you're going to spend an eternity in heaven because you didn't obey me.
The commandments had not been given at that point. He was testing Abraham.
No. We're talking about you. We're talking about you.
Allow me to elaborate on that. the commandments had not been given at that point. He was testing Abraham because Abraham had already been.
Abraham wasn't the only one who he commanded to kill their son. There was
Elaborate on
Jacob's
my
path.
answer. Okay, you could give me more examples afterward, but he was testing Abraham. Abraham had disobeyed him in the past, and now he wanted to see if he was loyal. And ultimately, he was only testing him. He didn't actually kill his son because the angel stopped him, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you a better example. Acts 10. Peter was told to kill and eat unclean creatures. And this was a command from the Holy Spirit. Peter said, no, because I've never done this because it's against your law. So if God told me to do something against his law, I'd cite his law and say, no, because the scriptures say, according to Paul, even if an angel from heaven came down and told us to preached against the gospel, we should not believe it. So if an angel from heaven or God himself told me to kill you or anyone else in cold-blooded murder, my answer is going to be no.
Okay, so if God commands you to do that, and then if you don't, he's going to send you to an eternity in hell for not. So if your options are God tells you to kill someone, and if you don't, you go to hell for eternity, does that make him an asshole?
That is a double talk because God won't condemn you.
I don't know. I don't want to hear what you think God will do. God is greater than you. So if God did this, would he be an asshole?
God has never condemned anyone.
The question is if he did this. So it's already happened. He said, you got to kill this guy or you're going to hell. Now, is he an asshole?
Yes.
Okay. That's all the atheists think too.
He's never commanded anyone to break his own laws. And if he did, he stopped them. He was just testing them. They didn't know.
Except all the times he had to kill and rape those people and destroyed and killed the firstborns.
When armies go into other lands and they take wives, that's not rape. That's consensual marriage.
That's not.
It is. When Americans went
God. So let's say
went into occupied Germany, and let's say Elvis Presley married his wife, whatever her name was. Was that rape? No. When Americans go into Vietnam and they took Vietnam wives home, was that rape? No. It's consensual marriage. They didn't force them. They might have had a good opportunity.
That's not a people. That's a country. So like if someone
Israelis went into other countries, occupied them, and they took wives, and you're calling it rape.
So if you killed, because this was the daughters, if someone killed your parents, would you marry that person? Was that going to be consensual?
I'm not a woman, and I don't know what my feelings would be. But
I don't care if you're a woman. Say your parents get killed with you being who you are. Are you going to marry the people who killed your parents?
Possibly, yes, possibly. I don't know. I'm not married. I'm not the marrying kind, maybe, but I would like to get married, but I have very high standards. So I'm not just going to marry anyone. But I know people have lower standards. So it depends on the individual if they want to or not.
Lower standards, yeah. Okay, so you think that they're just going to marry the people who
that no army on earth has ever went into other lands and taken wives when they
consensually? No.
When Americans went into Germany, they didn't take German wives. When they went into Vietnam,
if the Americans killed the parents,
they forced women to come back to America with them.
If the Americans went in and killed the parents of the daughter did not consensually marry them. No, that did not happen.
I don't see this part where they came and killed the parents and took the daughter. I mean,
it was kill everyone in the city except the young women and take them as your wives. That's the passage I'm talking about.
Yeah, I seriously think I think they were talking about the men who were armed. I don't think it meant
all of the men and the women and the cattle. It said literally all of them.
Sometimes scripture's not as written as literal as you take it as. So, I disagree with that.
Oh, it wasn't literal when it said kill the women and the children and the animals. It's not literal. Okay, that's a figurative killing. Did they want to kill their soul or something?
God wanted to judge those people for Israel to take the land. He so did it. So I can't really go back in time to see what was going on there at those times or what God's mindset was. So I don't say everything is clean and sanitary as you'd like it to be. This world is ugly, and I don't like it either.
God is ugly. God is the problem. The world isn't the problem. God is the problem.
Rebellion against God is the problem, not God himself.
No, God is the problem.
Dealing with a fallen world.
God is the problem. God created the fallen world. God created the fallen rules. God created all the garbage.
When's the last time God acted upon humanity?
I have no idea. I would never. He doesn't exist.
I do have an idea. 2,000 years ago, for
Okay.
last time a prophet was sent, and his name was
Okay.
Yeshua Messiah Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Since that time, how is we've had 2 world wars? You going to blame that on God?
Yep.
We're heading towards World War III. You going to blame that on God?
Yep.
Okay, you can blame everything on God.
Well, yeah,
He
it's
is
pretty
allowing
much
man
God's
to
fault.
rule.
Like, it's obviously God's fault. Like, if God created a system where there's a bunch of bad garbage rules that are
Man, I hate
bad and
to
can be
take a line.
misapplied, it's
I hate
God's
to take-
fault.
I hate to take a line out of God's not dead, but how could you blame God if God doesn't exist?
All right, so I don't think God exists. I'm doing an internal critique. Remember? Do you remember that word? I
Oh
explained
man,
that
you
with
have a lot of
before.
fallback positions. I got to give you credit. You got a lot of fallback positions.
What does internal critique mean? Remember? Do you remember that word?
I forgot your definition of it, but it sounds
It's
like if I
adopting
don't have
a
my argument on
worldview.
this point, I'm gonna fall back to this point.
An internal critique is when you adopt a worldview for the sake of an argument to imply
I think
the
that's exactly what you're
consequences of the
doing.
worldview. Right.
I think you're adopting worldviews for the sake of your arguments,
Yes.
and then when that doesn't work out, you say, well, whatever. You come up with something else.
So if I'm adopting your worldview for the sake of the argument, and then you say I actually believe the worldview, and I say no, this is an internal critique. I'm adopting the worldview for the sake of the argument. You don't understand why that's a completely rational thing to say.
My head's spinning from BS. I don't know what.
I can believe that. But
Good.
so internal critiques are when you adopt a worldview for the sake of the argument. You don't genuinely believe it. It's something you adopt for the sake of the argument. It's like an idea in your head. Doesn't mean
Listen,
you
I
believe
believe
it.
what I'm saying, and if God has done some harsh things in your opinion, like drowning the earth, I see God says He's going to judge the world. So you have an opportunity to live righteously. You do not have what you want to live however you
Right.
want. God, you
You're right.
have.
I don't want to be
your
a
life,
slave.
You don't even understand what your life is.
Well,
Your
yes,
life,
I do.
according to the scriptures, not according to TJump. According to the scriptures, your life is a trial run
Slavery.
for eternal life.
Well,
If you
according to
do-
the scriptures, I'm a slave.
Yes, you're either a slave to
That's the
sin or
problem.
to righteousness. You
Well,
can't be a slave to nothing.
no.
Am I a slave to breathing air? Yes, I
So
am.
if
God,
God makes me a
dead
slave, if
am
God
I
makes me a slave,
to breathing air?
One sec. No, I don't know what that
Oh,
means.
really? If I stop breathing, I have the freedom to stop breathing air? I don't think so.
You should. You should. So if God, wait,
God's not going to give you that.
No,
you want
no,
the power
so
to transform into a fish if you want to.
No. So if God makes you a slave to something that isn't required, like air, he could have not made you a slave to air, which means he did it deliberately, and so he's immoral because he made you a slave.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Sure.
What's your marital status?
Single.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Do you intend to ever get married?
Undecided.
Do you intend to ever have children?
Undecided.
Okay, if you had a child, would you be responsible because you made that child a slave to this world?
If I had a child
into this world, that child is a slave to the system.
If I had a child and had godlike powers, I would make a world where it was impossible to force anyone to do anything they don't consent to doing, and I would be moral. If I made a garbage world where people could rape and murder
you would be
and kill,
immoral for bringing a child into this world. You said you're undecided because if you brought a child in this world, that child is going to face certain.
Were you not listening? So if I brought a child into this world and I had the power of God, I would make a world where it's impossible to force anyone to do anything they don't consent to doing. And I would be moral. I would be correct, right, not evil. God is evil because he did not create that world. He created a world where if the kid doesn't do what the parent wants, they're a slave and they get thrown into eternal torment or death, whichever one you believe in, without their consent, which is evil. So my world that I would create if I was a parent is one where it's impossible to force anyone to do anything they don't consent to doing, and I would be moral. But God didn't do that. God is immoral.
You just said that you don't know. You're not sure if you want to have a child one day.
Right.
You would be immoral for even having a child with those standards.
What?
You would be immoral.
If I created the world. If I created this world, no. So if I wait, hold up. So if I created this world with this garbage set of standards and I had a child, yes, that would be immoral. If I created the garbage world and forced a being into it without its consent, yes, I would be culpable. It would be my fault. I would be immoral.
Tom Jump's fallback position.
What?
Uh,
I did
here
not
comes-
create this world. I am
Here-
not
I know.
liable for the
This is
bad
your
things
out.
that happen here.
This is your out. I love it. I mean, I love your
Logic? Like, if I didn't
love it. I
do
mean,
the
it's
crime, I'm
in a
not
way, you're
culpable.
kind of like an atheist genius. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
You bring if you bring a child into this world, it's not your fault knowingly that you're bringing a child into this world with restrictions, but you're going to turn and blame that on God. But you know that you're bringing a child into this world with restrictions, but it doesn't matter because you can do nothing wrong. I mean, this circular reasoning is unbelievable.
No. So like if I brought a child into the world and somebody else murdered the child, the somebody else is the bad guy, right?
Yes.
Right. So if I didn't create this world, I didn't do the bad things. God did. God did the bad things. Me bringing a child into this world and him suffering the bad things, whose fault is it?
But you know that if you bring a child into
Well,
this
it doesn't
world,
matter
he
if
will
I know
suffer.
who committed the
You
crime.
know.
Who committed the crime?
You.
No.
Because you willingly bring a child into this
Me
world that's gonna
knowing
experience some
knowing
suffering.
that somebody's going to do a bad thing isn't a bad thing. If I know God is going to murder somebody and God murders somebody, who committed the crime?
I didn't ask you that. I said,
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. If I know somebody's going to commit a crime,
right?
and that person commits a crime, who did the crime?
The person that did the crime.
Yes, exactly. So it doesn't matter if I know this world is garbage. What matters is who made this world garbage in the first place. They committed the crime, and that is God, Sky Daddy God.
Here's the problem with your argument.
Sure.
If you have a child and you put them in the back, let's say you have a 2-year-old child, and you know you're drinking and you get drunk, and you put the child in the car and you're driving down the
I would be
road.
drinking. Yes, me drinking is me culpable.
Yeah, and
I did that.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, we're getting into hypotheticals here that is way off topic. I mean, but you want to absolve responsibility because you say I didn't do that.
I didn't
God
create the
created
world.
alcohol. God created the alcohol, and He made me. If it wasn't there for me to drink, then I would have never drove drunk. I mean, we can do this all day long. I mean,
no. If God created
you don't
all
want
the
any
pain and
personal
suffering,
responsibility. You want personal responsibility actually taken away from
I
you.
didn't have any choice in the way the world was designed. I had no choice. I could choose to drink the alcohol. So if I have a choice that I can choose to drink the alcohol, I am at fault. So I don't have any choice about cancer. That's not my choice. If my kid gets cancer, 100% God's fault. I didn't choose the cancer. I didn't make cancer. I didn't make a world with cancer.
You know, sometimes people eat unclean.
Maybe I did.
Yeah.
What? How, did I teleport back in time and create cancer before I was born?
You can smoke cigarettes and cause lung cancer to yourselves or others. You can eat unclean, bad diet.
You're deflecting. You're evading. So, like,
It's
obviously, I didn't make
exact,
cancer.
Like, cold or whatever. But maybe you think it is.
Who made cancer? Was it? Did a human make cancer?
I hear what you're saying, but there are consequences. This world is not, sunshine and rainbows wherever we step, and it's just la la land. If that's when you're
whose
God,
fault is that?
What's that?
Whose fault is it that this isn't a la la land where we don't die?
I don't want to live in a la la land. So
I don't care what you want. I care what other people want. What you want, you can go to whatever world you want to. So if I'm God, wait. So if I was God,
you are sovereign of your own life. If you want to, you can live.
No. If I was sovereign of my own life, I would eliminate aging. I would eliminate aging and eliminate disease. Then I would be sovereign.
You're sovereign to some degree of your life with limitations.
Well, that means not sovereign. So if I have limitations, that means I'm not sovereign. That's the opposite of sovereign. So if I was God, I would give you the option.
Hear me out.
Sure,
in other words, if you want to live like Michael Jackson in the Kitty Land, you can get rich and do that. So, yeah, Michael Jackson has to breathe air and he has to eat food and he has to take a crap like the rest of us. But, he's creating his own world. If you want to live like Elvis in Graceland, if you have the ability to do it, you can do it. Yeah, but you're not. What you want is to be a god. God didn't create you to be God. He created you to be his son and his daughter. If you don't want to be his son and daughter, you can opt out and then, you can cease to exist. So that's it. You're on trial.
So do what God says or he's going to kill you. Phenomenal.
That's right. I'm not going to argue with that.
So if I was God, I would give you the option to live in whatever kind of world you would prefer to live in. So if you want to live in a world exactly like this one, you would have that choice. You could do it. I'm like, okay, go for it. That's fine.
If
I would
I
give the
wanted to
people
go
who
out,
don't want to.
if I wanted to go out and commit crimes and rape women because I had
Nope,
the urge
you couldn't
to
do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it because each of the women would be able to choose which world they wanted to live in. Every human being, every
so
individual human being would be able
I'm
to choose what kind of world they want to live in. And so if they want to live in a world where you can't get raped, they would live in that world and you couldn't touch them. That's the better world. That's what God should have done if God was competent and not a fool.
This reminds me of a movie. It's a Wonderful Life. You know, I really wish God could give you this fantasy world that you wish for and let you live it out for like a few years and see how it turns out. But
That would be
I don't
awesome.
think he's going to, but I wish he would. But anyway,
So
I don't
so
know.
what do you think would happen if we made a world where it was impossible to force anyone to harm other people? It couldn't do it without their consent. You think it would just be a terrible thing? Everyone would
There
be
is
so
such a world.
unhappy.
There is such a world.
Oh yeah, where is it?
They made a movie about it. You know,
Matrix?
something like that. Yeah, The Matrix, or you could be a cartoon. You know, you could shoot someone's head in a cartoon and you actually don't die. So if you can enter
Yes.
cartoon world, you know, you could live in this world.
Yes, cartoon world is more moral than this world. Congratulations, God is a terrible designer.
Do you think you'd be happy there? You know,
Yes.
you know, you don't just get happiness by having whatever you want all the time.
People are happy in video games. That's why they play them.
There was a Twilight Zone episode back in the day that a guy
Wow.
thought that he, you know, died and went to heaven, and there's the angel before him. He says, "I'm going to give you everything you want." So he gave him everything he wanted. Girlfriends. Every time he played a pool game, he was hitting every shot. And then he finally said, "This is boring. I can't lose. I can't do anything wrong." And he finally said, "I think I belong in the other place, hell." And you know what the angel said to him? "You are in hell." So getting everything you want, every perfect
No one. That's
perfect
not what
result
they
every
want.
time.
That's not what
You
they
have
want.
no
You're
challenges.
well,
You have
hold up,
no
hold up,
challenges.
hold
You
up,
have
hold
nothing.
up,
Everything
hold
is
up,
on a
hold
silver
up.
platter for you.
You're
That might
confused.
be hell.
You're very, very confused. Like in that analogy where you win everything without effort, nobody wants that. That is not what people want. So your analogy doesn't actually address the
So you want to
question of
lose
what people want.
sometimes, but you know
Yes.
you don't never want to get hurt.
Have you
How
never heard of
do
video
you
games?
just said that you
Video
want to
games.
go to a place where you never get injured or anything. So
No,
therefore,
no,
I
I did
assume that
not
you
say
never want
that.
to lose.
I did not say that. I said a world where you can't
never want to
force. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Listen carefully. What I want is a world where it is impossible to force people to do things they don't consent to doing. That means if you consent to playing a very hard video game that can cause you pain, you can do that. That's okay. In video games, you can turn the difficulty up and you can lose. That's a thing in video
Okay,
games.
I think we should drop this topic because two reasons. One, the God that I believe in exists has not provided this world.
Yeah, because he's an
Two,
asshole. Yeah.
how could he be an asshole if he doesn't exist? Two,
Internal
the,
critique.
the world that you believe where there is no God, it doesn't exist there either. So either way, that you're never going to have this fantasy world that you want. Okay, so it's a moot point.
Well, we will eventually.
We will how?
Technology.
Oh boy, you believe
Do,
that,
do
but you
you
don't
not?
know that. Maybe you can.
Yes,
Maybe you
that's.
can go into the Matrix one day, and you're going to have a world of your choosing. And not, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck. I hope you
Okay.
enjoy yourself.
Well, that can be my prediction. That can be my prediction for the future, and I
All
can
right.
bet
Well,
$1
you
billion
predict
on
that.
it.
I predict Damascus is going to fall in 2033, 34. Let's see who's right.
We will definitely see who is right. It'll be
I mean,
entertaining.
we're getting, you know, don't they have those meta goggles where you could go on and play things? I mean, maybe you have that. Maybe you'd enjoy doing that right now.
Meta is garbage. Meta is garbage. So no.
Yeah.
That is
Well, I haven't
garbage.
tried it. I don't know.
Yeah, separate topic though. Well, we have been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. Do you want to give any links or references where people can find out more about your work?
Okay. You know, as I said to you earlier in this discussion, I think we went down similar roads. I didn't believe in the God that was being presented. You didn't believe in God at all, and you went towards the atheist way, and I went towards searching for God. And when you search for God, doors will be opened. And if people are looking for the real answers, not what you're going to get in your standard mainstream church, find us at www.scripturetruthministries.com, or you can find us on YouTube, Scripture Truth Ministries. I look forward to people discovering the truth that we have to offer. And if you're looking for answers, I think we got them for you. And I want to thank you for hosting and for another discussion, lively discussion. You want your Matrix world. I want the Kingdom of Heaven. I think one exists. One is a fantasy, and you might have some version of that. I think even in the Kingdom of Heaven, you might be able to plug into some Matrix there, and God is capable of doing all things. I don't know, but maybe I want to play a baseball game, but I don't have all players, and I can just go into some Matrix, and maybe I'll be able to do it in the Kingdom of Heaven. I don't know. We'll see. And as for my prediction, once again, I'm putting my reputation on the line here. 2033 to 2034, Scripture Truth Ministries is predicting that Damascus will be completely destroyed and will be a ruinous heap. Damascus is currently population 2 million. We believe it'll be population 0. And if it's not population 0 by January 1st, 2036, I will come on even your show if you're still around and apologize and pie right in the face. It's best I can do. I'll be taking even money bets if anyone wants to bet me. That's the best I can do. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was a great conversation, and I will hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.